Imagine you are a turkey. Every single day for 1,000 days, a kind and generous human comes to feed you. With each passing day, your confidence in the goodness of the world grows stronger. The data is clear. Your statistical model is perfect. The evidence overwhelmingly suggests that this human is your friend and that your life is safe, predictable, and on a clear upward trend. Until the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Suddenly, and with no warning from your past data, an event occurs that catastrophically falsifies your entire worldview. This is Nassim Nicholas Taleb's famous turkey problem, and it illustrates the profound and dangerous flaw in how we are all taught to think about the world. In his landmark, paradigm-shifting book, The Black Swan, Taleb argues that history is not shaped by the predictable, the average, and the normal. It is shaped by the massively consequential, wildly improbable events that nobody saw coming. Today on Geeky Philosopher, we are going on a journey into the heart of randomness. We will learn to see the world through the skeptical, brilliant, and provocative eyes of one of our greatest modern thinkers, and discover why the most important events are the ones we can never predict. For centuries, people in the old world were 100% certain that all swans were white. Every single piece of evidence for thousands of years confirmed this belief. The statement "all swans are white" was an absolute fact, until the day an explorer landed in Australia and saw, for the first time, a black swan. That single observation instantly and completely shattered a belief that had been held for millennia. A black swan, for Taleb, is an event with three specific properties. It is an outlier. It lies outside the realm of our regular expectations. Nobody saw it coming. It carries an extreme impact. It fundamentally changes the game. It is explainable only in hindsight. After the event happens, human nature makes us concoct a story to explain why it was inevitable, making it seem predictable after the fact. Think about the rise of the internet, the September 11th attacks, the 2008 financial crisis, or a global pandemic. These were not predicted by the so-called experts. They came out of nowhere, they changed everything, and now we have simple stories to explain why they were bound to happen. These are black swans. And, Taleb's argument is that almost everything of consequence in our history is the result of these unpredictable events. So why are we so bad at seeing these events? It's because we are constantly confusing two completely different domains of reality. Taleb calls them Mediocristan and Extremistan. Mediocristan is the world of the average, the predictable, and the bell curve. Things like human height, weight, or your daily commute time live in Mediocristan. In this world, outliers don't have much of an impact. If you add the tallest human in the world to a room of 1,000 people, the average height of the room barely changes. In Mediocristan, the past is a reasonably good guide to the future, but many of the most important parts of modern life do not live in Mediocristan, they live in Extremistan. Extremistan is the wild, unpredictable world of the scalable. Things like wealth, book sales, social media followers, and market crashes live here. In this world, outliers are everything. If you add Jeff Bezos to a room of 1,000 people, the average wealth of the room skyrockets into the millions. One single observation can completely dominate the total. In Extremistan, the past is a terrible guide to the future, and the bell curve is a dangerously misleading tool. The great catastrophic mistake of modern society, Taleb argues, is that we are constantly trying to use the maps and tools of Mediocristan to navigate the wild and unpredictable territory of Extremistan. So why do we do this? Why are our brains so resistant to accepting the reality of randomness? The answer lies in another key concept, the narrative fallacy. Our brain is a storytelling machine. It is desperate to make sense of the world. It craves simple, coherent stories with clear cause and effect. When it is faced with a series of complex, random events, it will automatically and unconsciously weave them into a neat and tidy narrative. We read a news story that says the stock market went up today because of positive news from the Federal Reserve. This sounds logical, it makes us feel like we understand what's happening. But the truth is, the stock market is an incredibly complex system, and that simple story is almost certainly a lie. It is a comforting fiction we tell ourselves to hide from the terrifying reality that, most of the time, we have no idea why things are happening. The narrative fallacy gives us a false sense of understanding. which leads to a dangerous overconfidence in our ability to predict the future. If the world is dominated by unpredictable black swans, and our minds are wired to ignore them, what are we supposed to do? Are we doomed? No. Taleb's philosophy is not one of despair. It is a call for a new kind of wisdom, a wisdom based on intellectual humility. The solution is not to try and predict the next black swan, that is impossible. The solution is to build a life that is robust to negative black swans and exposed to positive ones. This is the core of what he would later call being antifragile. How do we do this? First, we must have a deep skepticism of experts, forecasters, and anyone who claims to have a perfect model of the future. Second, we must favor a strategy of trial and error over grand, top-down plans. And third, we can use strategies like the barbell. You put the vast majority of your resources in extremely safe, predictable things, protecting yourself from ruin, and you put a small portion of your resources in high-risk, high-reward ventures that are exposed to a positive black swan. You don't try to predict which one will succeed, you just make sure you're in a position to benefit if one of them does. The black swan is a profound and necessary rebellion against the arrogance of our modern world. It is a powerful argument for skepticism, for intellectual humility, and for a deep and abiding respect for the power of randomness and the limits of human knowledge. It teaches us that the wise person is not the one who has the most confident and elegant theory of the world. The wise person is the one who understands how little they actually know. The book is not a roadmap to the future. It is a user's manual for a world that cannot be mapped. It is a call to stop being the fragile, overconfident turkey, and to start becoming a more humble, more robust, and more resilient thinker, prepared for a future that will, by its very nature, be a surprise. This book is a challenging and essential journey. It asks us to let go of our most comforting illusions and to embrace the wild, unpredictable, and ultimately more interesting nature of reality. If you are a fellow skeptic, a questioner, a thinker who is brave enough to embrace uncertainty and to live with the profound truth that we do not know what is coming next, then you are a student of this philosophy. Consider subscribing to Geeky Philosopher, where we are dedicated to exploring the ideas that prepare us for an unknowable world. Thank you for your time.